Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our second edition of our Rowdies interview section. Today, I am very lucky to be joined by none other than Kai Velmer. He is the executive director for the USA League. That is one of his titles. He has many titles, but my favorite one is my friend. Kai, how you doing, sir?
Thanks, Ben. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Kai, it's funny, for those that don't know, I'm sure some guys have seen you around the stadium or they've seen you at the soccer field. You've been around them forever. You were the guy that reintroduced me to the Rowdies through coaching back in the day with, what was it, Oldsmar, and then you brought me into doing team stats with the Rowdies. So when I had taken my break from soccer, you brought me back in, and since then I've been back all in, man. So I got to thank you for that, man. You brought me back to you brought me back home, should I say. So how have things been? How are you doing? And, what have you got going on?
I've been doing great. Actually, going back to that, I remember the email I received at Oldsmar when I was director of coaching from you. And funny enough, to the right, my right of me, I obviously too far away from my desk, but in my office, I have a team picture sitting there of that year we coached, and you're on there with Mario Martinez and the rest of the boys. Sitting there in my office. It's a cool picture, and it was a great season. And yeah, we went from there, and then we had a lot of fun doing the stats, and the rest is history.
Well, so today we're here to talk about the USA League. We recently that we had seen the Rowdies make an announcement about a partnership with USA League. With your role, obviously, as executive director, what is the USA League to you? Kind of what is its mission statement? What does it stand for to you in kind of a simple form?
Wow. For me, the USA League, oddly enough, and you as well, probably, I played in it in the early 90s. I think it was formed in 1990. It's been around for 30 plus years. It's been the main constant competitive league in Tampa Bay. And so for me, what I like about the league and why I was involved with the league for a number of years as a board member before becoming the director. And obviously, we all know the landscape in youth soccer has changed. It's become unfortunately, a big business. And we live in a landscape where we got 1,000 leagues and so forth. And interesting enough, like the pros as well, like MLS or USL, they're kind of closed leagues, right? There is no promotion, relegation, and so forth, and all that. But in the the USA League, what I love about this league, it's an inclusive league. We have over 40 members, 40 clubs, and as long as you are an affiliate of Florida Youth Soccer, and USYS, if you're an affiliate through that, your club is able to participate in our league. It's not, so in that sense, not a closed league. It's a team centric league. We have over 400 teams. So for me, that it serves a wide reach. It serves, a large part of the youth soccer community, and not just a small part. So that's kind of what, and again, what to me, it's a unique league. It provides a place to play for many kids, and provides an opportunity for many that otherwise maybe wouldn't have the opportunity.
I was to say, so it sounds like this is really a chance for a lot of other players or teams or clubs that wouldn't normally have the opportunity to play or have a pipeline to, say, the very top. This gives them an opportunity to kind of get involved, be seen, and talk to and work with, and kind of learn their way up all the way to the very top. Is that kind of correct, or is that kind of?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of some of the, but I haven't been around youth soccer for, since, like I said, I moved here in 1990 from Germany, and played here and coached here, and so I've been involved in this system since then. And when I became the executive director in July of last year, one of the first things that popped into my head was, how can we make this unique? How can we make this different? And that is where I reached out to, Ryan Helfrich, of the Rowdies, and just pitched my idea to him. And I thought, it'd be great for the Rowdies to get involved with the league, because we are an inclusive league, and we spanned Tampa Bay and beyond Tampa Bay, pretty much the entire Region C, in Florida Youth Soccer map. And there's A, B, C, and D, and we're in Region C. And thought, it kind of be cool, because that, since we are an inclusive league, the Rowdies partnering with us, with the league, it would have an impact on so many kids, regardless of background, regardless of size of club. And so that was kind of the whole idea was behind it. How can we provide more opportunity? How can we continue to grow the game? That's always kind of my passion, is to how we can continue to grow the game. I've seen the game grow by leaps and bounds from 1990 to now. And now, obviously, with it turning into such a big business, unfortunately, what we see at times that, even though the game is growing on TV, we see more professional soccer and we see the attendance increase. That doesn't always translate back to the youth soccer fields because, yeah, there are obstacles, financial obstacles that help that where some clubs that are maybe smaller out in the rural areas, or parents and players that maybe do not have the financial means to play in the upper echelon leagues and to do all the kinds of traveling and so forth how can we provide a place where we can provide an opportunity for all and provide access, greater access to the game.
Gotcha. So, all right. So, and that kind of leads me where I wanted to go next. Is kind of talking about how the members of this league and kind of how does this partnership benefit them. So, we had talked previously before we started how there was kind of like the USA League as a whole, players and parents, coaches, and then the Rowdies as well. So, I want to kind of break these down and kind of let's talk first about the USA League. So, like league promotion, director of coaching education. I saw the announcement there's talk of games at Al Lang, which is an exciting thing, I think, for any young kid to get to play at a professional stadium. I think is awesome. And of course, player opportunity. Can you speak a little more on some of that and kind of what some of this is, what this kind of deal kind of means for that?
Yeah, sure. On the league promotion, obviously, with the Rowdies brand, obviously now tied to the league, obviously that sets us apart from others and also helps get our name out there a little more prominently. When it comes to, the coaching education or DOC education, what we've been talking about is having some kind of, we're still working on a lot of the framework and details, but what we're looking at to do is having some kind of DOC workshops that will be hosted by the Tampa Bay Rowdies and also I think conducted by the technical staff itself, to where we have an engagement of the professional coaches with our area, with our league DOCs that are in the membership, that their DOCs that come in, also continuous education, and then also looking to also touch on coaching education as well. Maybe looking at potential scholarships, so potential scholarships to also help with coaching education. So there, nowadays the coaching licenses, are also more expensive than they used to be. So we're looking at, how can we help coaches to, reach their goals of becoming better coaches, getting their education, getting their licensings, and maybe looking at how can we help them assist that with potential grants and scholarships to also help the coaches within the league to get better and also achieve their goals of getting the next step in their licensings. Games at Al Lang, yes, that's an exciting part that we're also discussing and how we can incorporate that, whether it'll be just we'll start with 1 or 2 games, or potentially maybe one they have 4 games a season where we pick random from like U13 through U19 and boys, girls, and maybe put draw them out of a hat, but have regular season games at LA and give the players and coaches the professional treatment like it would be on that obviously would take place during the Rowdies off season, so but fortunately for us, we play during the bulk of our season is during the Rowdies off season, so that fits in quite nicely. Player opportunities, yes, we're looking to host ID camps, first college ID camps out of the Waters training facility for boys and girls, for the players that are participating in our league. So, so there are going to be benefits to playing in the USA League. And so we're looking at hosting college ID camps, boys and girls, that's to be announced. And then also player identification camps for, that would, whether that be for the head coach or for the Rowdies professional staff to take a look at what kind of talent is out there. And that's the neat thing about this league, about we are inclusive. We have a big reach so that maybe kids that aren't currently playing at a big club and maybe do not have access to play at the ECNL or MLS Next level,
Yeah.
that through this, they also have a chance to be discovered. We're having ID camps, and then these coaches recommend players to us, and we invite them out and have these talent identification camps at Alang. And so, I'm not Alang, sorry, Waters, and for the Rowdies coaching staff to see what's out there, what kind of great talent we have in the league. And again, just to create opportunities for players that might not have that opportunity if this wasn't for the Rowdies getting involved with this league. So it's trying to create access to everyone in the league, from coaches to directors to players to parents, to again, and be an inclusive league and provide access that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for this partnership.
Well, I mean, I personally, I love that. I mean, like you, I mean, obviously I'm from here, so I played all my soccer here from 85 all the way to, into the 2000s. And, one of the other ways that, you got to identify was always through like ODP. And for those that have gone through the ODP process, I think many of us would agree, even to late 90s to current, it's kind of a broken system. I'm not a fan. In fact, I was recently watching a podcast where he talked about how it's broken, and that process is broken. So if you can't get in through ODP, if you're not at MLS Next, or if you can't afford to play for one of these big clubs, how do you get identified? And never got the chance to kind of take off in their soccer career. So that's really exciting. I'm really excited for that part because access to more players, I think is nothing but just good.
Besides the financial obstacle, you still have, um, other kids, obviously, and so if you have children that don't play soccer, you also have to be there for them. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, right?
Yeah. Travel is
So family time is very important to me. So it's kind of like how I wouldn't know how I would be able to pull something like that off, and I don't know how some families do it. So I think this is a great opportunity, like I said, to provide access and opportunity for 99% of the kids out there that might not be in the position to do.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of leads into the other part. You had brought up kind of the coaching education side of things, and obviously education's a big thing. We see a lot of our players who are while they're with the Ruddies going to get their coaching licenses. We see there's been a big growth in that, and I'm sure that's probably been that way for a while. I didn't notice much, obviously, when I was younger and I played, but I've seen it a lot more having been with the Ruddies. A lot of players taking that jump. Some of the other things we talked here is like the team bonding opportunities, just team opportunities.
From our side with the Rowdies, it'll just be from a higher level coaching side of like
Okay.
an added piece, since the licenses are done through the state organization or the federation. But you would offer, with the resources to the Rowdies, just some additional education, some additional resources for. So that's the piece there is, and then obviously down the road, we want to, kind of build a grant or scholarship, into it where we can, help a coach or coaches, help them afford, maybe that C license, B license, and A license. It's not easy. Besides the time commitment, it's also a financial commitment. And so, I know there's always a focus of, scholarships for players, and which is all important. Obviously, you want the kids to play and have access and all the things, but we can't forget about the coaches, because the better coaches make better players and make for better soccer. And I think there is that, important piece where we also or if we're able to help, coaches who might, wouldn't be able to afford it on their own, with these grants and scholarships to help improve the game and elevate the game. And at the end of the day, it just helps the kids, obviously, if the coaches get better.
So with your time, obviously you like I said, you've coached, you've been director of coaching, obviously your current title as executive director. What has been some of your things that you've noticed as far as that are missing most? I mean, obviously I think we've probably talked about most of that, but what are some of the areas that you feel that are lacking in the current format? I mean, outside of maybe ECNL and maybe the top levels, but maybe more of some of the other ranks. Like, what are some of the areas that you think we could improve, kind of as a whole, as a community? You know,
I
it's
don't
it's
want this. I don't want to start another Eric Winalder segment, which was great, by the way. I liked this segment.
maybe one or two topics, something that are personal to you when it comes to access to the game. What are two things that maybe you'd like to see an improvement on that you hope to maybe address, with this deal?
What we want to try to do is, because currently the landscape's so fractured. There's so many leagues out there. I couldn't even tell you. There's probably 10 leagues or more that our clubs are playing in nowadays.
Yeah.
And what this is doing, obviously, is it's having us travel more. It is not necessarily increasing the competition. It's actually diluting the level of play because everybody's playing in a different acronym league. What's chasing the latest and greatest? Because obviously, I'm not going to hide it, it's a business. And if you can sell a certain league at a certain level, has it improved our level of play? No, it hasn't. It really hasn't. I kind of actually think that it has hurt the level of play. I'm not talking to ECNL or MLS Next, but there's several leagues underneath it. There's so many different acronyms now, and that the goal for the USA League, the goal for me as an executive director and hoping getting the Rowdies involved, besides increasing access to and increasing opportunities, is I would like to see the goal is to get the majority of locally here within our region, not just Tampa Bay, but in our region C, to come back to play in the league like it used to be. I'm not talking about the upper echelon of ECNL and MLS Next, but the tiers below that we kind of have so that's kind of thing. We would also with more teams, although we're already a big league currently with over 40 clubs and 400 teams. If you get these teams back, the majority of teams back into the league, you do cut down on travel because you have density. And we have some great quality out there. We have some, fantastic talent out there that we could also improve the level of play. And which is, what we're looking back to do, after COVID. The league actually, the USA League is kind of cool. We have, well, before COVID, there was promotion relegation, three divisions a lot of times, and then the top two went up, the bottom two went down, and but then COVID happened, and we the league drifted away from that and became more of a geographical league, and didn't focus so much on first, second division, but more on, excuse me, geographics, and it didn't serve, maybe it cut down travel a little bit, but it didn't serve the league well in terms of competition because it is competitive soccer. And, so what we, came up with, the league started a couple of years ago, started a playoff system and now has a championship. We now have a championship at the end of the season. But when we're bringing back this year, we're bringing Premier Division back, second and third division. And also, uniquely enough, we are going through this with the state association, the Florida Youth Soccer Association. We are going through a real promotion relegation system. So the Florida Youth Soccer Association they run the leagues. One is called Sunshine. The other one is the FSPL. Those are your state level leagues. And then there's other tiers above that are run by the US Youth. And so what for the first time now, teams used to do an application to fill out an application to get into those leagues. Now we have several leagues in our state that have partnered with the state association, and we are promoting our premier from U13 through U17. We are promoting our premier division champion now gets promoted into the FSPL. There goes my dog. So it gets promoted into the FSPL. So we actually have the promotion relegation. We'll have promotion from the third division to the second division to the first division in our league. And then from our league, it goes up into the state level and then continues from there. So we're actually creating finally a team-centric promotion relegation system in the state where you earn your way. It doesn't matter what club you're with. If your team's good enough, it'll get there. You actually earn your way up. We'll have a playoff system, kind of a mix. It's the top four, weather permitting. So hurricanes can sometimes screw up a system. Last year we had to reschedule over 250 games, and we had to actually restructure our playoff format, which wasn't great. But again, it's nothing we can control. But if all goes well, what you have is you have the regular season, and then your top four will make the playoffs, and the higher seed will host the semifinal game at home, and the USA League covers the referee costs of that game. So we try to cut down on the cost where we can. And then we host Chip Weekend, where all the finals are played at one place. And then, big trophy ceremony, yada, 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 and trophy ceremony. And the league pays for the referee fees. It doesn't cost anything for the teams to anything extra for participating in the playoffs and championship weekend. So we are, we're getting promotion relegation back in, having 3 tiers of level to make sure the competition's good. And then, and then our U8 through U10s are academy leagues. Those are built geographically to try to cut down on travel. So we don't, but starting at U11, it is done now, by tiered by division 1, 2, and 3. And then, like I said, we have this fantastic partnership that we started with the state association, to where our top teams from the premier division get promoted into the state league. So again, it's exciting. It took a long time for this to kind of organically grow, but I'm really excited to be part of this. I'm excited to where we're going, because we're creating an inclusive system that will allow for teams and players to earn their way, no matter what club they're with, where they come from, and where they're located. And having the Rowdies also be a part of this and providing us with the support and resources is just supercharging this. At the end of the day, the game wins and the kids win. And so anyway, that was a long-winded thing when it comes to you asking me what can we do, what I would like to see, which is less, for me, it's less leagues, people playing all over the place, diluting the situation, but I can go on and on about some other things. But
no, but that's why I asked though. I mean, because look, I've come to you before. I remember when I first kind of learned about all these other leagues, and I mean, you're kind of my go-to for all things youth soccer, because I mean, when I played, USA League is basically what I played in. It's what you played in. It was simple. It made sense. If you were good enough, you moved up. If you were, it didn't matter where you came from. If you could get, if you could play, you could, you were going to get an opportunity. And I see the structure today, and it's very confusing. I don't understand what a lot of these things are. And I like the idea of simplifying those steps and putting the talent first, because that seems like what this really focus on is, and not just talent on the field, talent on the sidelines, educating parents, educating directors, and as a, what is the saying? Rising tides brings in all ships. Well, this is very much kind of one of those situations. So for me, this is exciting. So it might have been a long answer, but you have a ton of knowledge that I think a lot of people don't understand or know. So I thank you for that, because most people don't understand or have that connection to the game like you do, or have that passion for the youth ranks the way that you do. So it's valuable to have that. Now, obviously this is a partnership with the Rowdies. Understanding that this is kind of this is a flowing project. the partnership has been, the foundation's been laid, but obviously this is going to kind of be an organic thing that grows along the way. Of the things that are kind of set in place, what are some of the expectations from the Rowdies outside of maybe coaching as an org that are going to play with partnering with the USA League? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, for the Rowdies, I think that I had currently, I mean, the discussions we've had, again, this has been a project that has started in July of last year. And took a long time, but we got over the finish line. And obviously the storms didn't help. But, during all the discussions and everything, the Rowdies, what I got a sense of, they are definitely committed to growing the game, number one, and being involved in the community beyond, but they do have a desire to. I know when you go to Alang, you just go to the fields, and to me to Alang, and you would just watch the game on the field and so forth. But if you go look behind the scenes, obviously, and you see. Wow, Pedro's really he is seeing something tonight. I don't know what it is, but it is something in the
It'll
backyard.
edit itself out. We're good.
But anyways, so sorry for that. That little guy is still young and still yapping.
You're
But
good.
going back to that, behind, I love it. He's quiet all day except for right now. Anyway, going back to every time I wanted to start, it's like what's happening? Okay, all right, I'm good with laughing. All right, done. So going back to that, and I'm just not getting my train of thought. I don't even know what's happening. He's seeing something. Awesome. Hold on. Pedro, come on, buddy. Jesus Christ. He still barks at everything. And then they got the other dog who doesn't bark at anything. All right, going back to what I was gonna say. Yeah. All right. So when you get a feel for the Rowdies behind the scenes, which I have been lucky enough and fortunate enough to have the access to over the years, and you see what they've done with Waters and so forth. They really do care about the community, and they really do care about growing the game. That is very important to them, and making an impact on as many, not just just the kids, but the fans, everybody. But I can tell you that when it comes to the front office and the Tampa Bay Rowdies, so the major takeaway from this for them is to grow the game and have a great impact on the community.
Well, I mean, like I said, I was excited the second I heard about this deal. Obviously, you and I have talked behind the scenes a little bit about things, and obviously knowing the team, working with the team, I hear some things. So it's like I'm excited to see the Rowdies still committed, or should I say, recommitted to the development at the youth level. Because I remember as a kid myself playing for the Kick in the Grass camps and going out to these camps where Rowdies players are out hosting, and I remember just when I was younger, they were everywhere, at all these places, and I remember just feeling like, even being a kid, seeing these guys out there made me feel more connected to the game. So I'm excited to see that, to have them be available for most importantly the kids, I think is huge. I'm excited to see what kind of comes to this, and kind of as this build and as this kind of rolls itself out a little further. Is there a timeline in mind right now? Now, obviously, I understand this is kind of a flowing thing. I don't need any like specific dates or anything, but is there a timeline of when you feel like to maybe start rolling out maybe like a phase one of this? Is there a goal in mind between you and the team about when you'd like to maybe start implementing some of these steps?
Yeah, they are. I think in year one, you will see the ID camp for sure. I mean,
Okay.
we're currently in the off season. I mean, trials just took place last week. And, we're kicking off our new season. The older age group started playing in August, and the younger ones in September. But you'll be seeing, Rowdies identification camp. We will host a Rowdies ID camp. I know that towards the end of the year, we're looking at doing a girls and boys college ID camps as well. And then probably, hopeful, also a coaching education, kind of a DOC education summit kind of, we're still building that out, what that looks like. But I do believe that that's all possible in still in 2025, and I think that's what we're looking to do. Over the next 3 to 6 months, we will be coming up with kind of a plan that we will roll out to the youth soccer community to kind of give them a more detailed idea of this partnership and what to
Fantastic.
expect. So obviously, this is the first step here, being on your podcast here, but we are planning on, along with the Rowdies, to roll out a plan of action so everybody understands, what this is and what we're planning to do. Again, we've had a long discussions. There's been a lot of thought that's been into it. We have a multi-year plan in place, and we're just now working out the details of what we're going to roll out first in year one, and year two, and three, and so forth. But in year one here in 2025, I do expect the ID camp, the college ID camp for the boys and girls, and like kind of a DOC summit or coaching or education piece of some sort. And so that's and there's some other things that we're looking to do. It's just trying to work out all details and into the timing of it, because as you know, probably from where we're playing, is that it gets busy. So when the soccer season rolls out,
Oh, yeah.
there's tons of games and tournaments and so forth. So you kind of have to look at what works best when and where for the club leaders and so forth. But again, we're very excited about this, and we're going to be rolling out more information to the membership and to the public. And again, even though this is a flowing thing, that there's been a lot of work put in behind the scenes, and we do have a plan. Just having to figure out when's the right timing for each piece, and hopefully, also in 2025, hopefully we might be able to also see a regular season game or two at Lang. I think that would be cool.
I mean,
To
yeah.
get that executed for in year one, but again, um, I have to wait and see. A lot of it too. The weather is going to play a lot of it as
Oh,
well. I'm really, hopefully, last year was an anomaly in terms of the back-to-back storms, but that obviously does play a big part in any of this. Who would have thought that the roof would be blown off of Tropicana Field?
yeah. Well, and then of course you have, I mean, not just the travel expectations and families and what they're doing doing during the season, even when they're trying to get away in the off season. The professional team, the guys, whatever, they families have a lot of like to fly back home, like to kind of get away. So I know there's a lot of moving parts here. So and having been on the inside, just like you, I mean, it's like we see what kind of goes on behind the scenes. There's so much stuff that's happening, so many moving parts, that it's tough sometimes to nail things down, because even once you do, things can still move. I mean, you have to be flexible in the professional level. I mean, you have to be willing to kind of work with things. And I know that this announcement doesn't get made unless there's been a ton of work and groundwork put in by yourself and by front office. So as soon as I saw this, I was excited. I wanted to kind of get you on here, give fans a chance to kind of talk about something other than just the Rowdies. The whole point of this interview segment is to give people access to something that is Rowdy centric, but also not Rowdy specific. See what else is going on out there that is tied to Rowdies, but happening at our youth leagues. I mean, what happens at our youth leagues affects everything all the way up. So a stronger youth leads for a stronger pro. So I'm super excited for this. I'm excited to kind of see where this thing goes. Obviously, if there's anything that we can offer support wise, or just to kind of be a mouthpiece to kind of get information out there to fans, we definitely want to do that. Kai, is there best way for people to reach out to you, or is there a place that's best for people to reach out to if they're interested in getting involved or joining within? Is there maybe their local directors of coaching? Is there a pipeline or a place for people to go maybe to reach out if they want to get involved?
Yeah, no, I could be reached at Kai at USA-soccer .org. That's my email. Also, the USA League website's USA usasoccer.org. And then obviously Facebook, Instagram, if you put in, although on the social media aspects of it, it's actually not just USA League. You have to look at United Soccer Association. That's what the USA stands for, United Soccer Association.
Yes.
But yeah, so you can, on Instagram and Facebook and on our website, or emailing me. And look, we're super excited. I'm really, really looking forward to this project. I believe in this 110% that this is going to have a very big positive impact, and I'm just looking forward to just getting to work and just making a positive impact on players and coaches, and really, because one of my passions is to make sure that we provide access and opportunities for players and coaches that otherwise might have never have access and opportunities. So that's just why I'm super excited about this partnership and why I'm involved with the USA League, because it is inclusive and it serves a greater you know but well, and I thank you for having me on. I really enjoy the show. It's you kicked it up a notch this year. I really do.
He brings back all the good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just here to kind of
So it's really good. I actually,
appreciate it.
I don't miss an episode. So I do enjoy you guys' take on what's happening, even though it's a tough season so far.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll have a turnaround this Saturday.
Yes. To close, I was going to say one thing. I have known you for 10, 15 years now, and you've been consistent about one thing specifically, and that is your passion for youth soccer and access to the game. And so for you to close out with that, I also want to make sure I reiterate that has been at the very core of your love for this game. Since we first met, you brought that up, and you've consistently brought that up the whole time. So if there's anybody who's going to be taking on this role with the United Soccer Association, I'm glad it's you. So my friend,
appreciate that. Thank you.
it is a pleasure as always. I'm sure we'll be talking plenty off air, but I'm really glad we had this chance to talk here. Is there anything else you'd like to close out with before we go, or?
No, everything's, I think we talked enough. And, when we have more information and we roll some more things out, or we announce our first ID camp and college ID camps, we can do this again. So to help get the word out.
Well, the door is always open, my friend, and we will talk soon.
Thank you. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Have a good one, my friend. Yep.
Bye.